Hello everyone, welcome to another series of the MCA Mathematics class. Today's class we'll be looking at the topic quadratic equations. A quadratic equation is an equation of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, where a, b and c are constant and your a is not equal to 0. So this is a quadratic equation that have a power of 2 is a quadratic equation. Okay, so this is how a quadratic equation looks like. It's of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Now the values of x that satisfy the quadratic equation are called the roots of the quadratic equation. Now this equation has values. If you solve this quadratic equation, you will definitely get the values of x. So the values of x are called the roots of the quadratic equation. Okay, now there are three methods of solving quadratic equation. The first method we have here is factorization method. And the second one is completing the square method. We have completing the square method, and the third one is standard formula method. Standard formula what? Method. So that is the three methods we have for solving quadratic equations. Now let us see some examples of quadratic equation and how we can actually use these three methods to solve quadratic equations. The first one we're going to do there is the factorization method, how you can actually factorize a quadratic equation. Now if you look at the questions we have on the board, use factorization method to solve the following equations. X squared minus x minus 6 is equal to 0. The coefficient of x here is 1. Use the x squared to times the negative 6. You get minus 6x squared. Okay, and then you look for the factors of 6. The factors of 6, they are what? 2 and 3. 2 and 3. So let us do here 2 and what? 3. 2 and 3. If I use a sign such that that will give me, this is negative 1x. So I'm going to look for a sign that I will fix into this 2 and 3 that will give me negative 1x. If I put plus 2x minus 3x, obviously it will give me minus 1x here. So that means if I times plus 2x times minus 3x, it will still give me back this my minus 6x squared, which we got originally from here. So that means anywhere I see my negative 1x, I'm going to fix this value there. Okay, so if I do that, I have x squared plus 2x minus 3x minus 6 equal to 0. Then I bracket this and then I bracket this. Okay, so now from here your x is common here, so I factor it out. 2x divided by x will give us what? Plus 2. And then minus 3 is common here into x. Minus 6 divided by minus 3 will give us what? Plus 2, which is equal to 0. Finally, let us bring out our result. This is x minus 3. Pick one of this bracket, that will be x plus 2 equal to 0. So we now say when x minus 3 is equal to 0, your x is equal to what? 3. If you take 3 here, it becomes positive. And when x plus 2 is equal to 0, then your x is equal to what? Minus 2. Okay, so that is how to solve the quadratic equation we have on the board using factorization method. Alright, if you look at the third question we have there, the third question is 3y squared plus 13y plus 12 equal to 0. Solution, we have 3y squared plus 13y plus 12 equal to 0. So what I will do is, the same way I've been doing the first two, I'll take this 3y squared, use it to multiply 12. And if I do that, 3y squared times 12 will give me what? Okay, let me show it to you very well. 3y squared times 12 will give us 36y squared. So you look for the factors of 36. 3 times 12 is 36. And we know that 4 times 9 is 36. But this is not going to work. So we need to use this. So if we use this such that if I take this as 4x and take this as 9x, or let me put this as y and put this as y, it will definitely give me 13y, which we have here. If you still multiply it, if you say 4y times 9y, you will still get 36y squared. You can see 4y times 9y will give you 36y squared. So it shows that this is the factor we are going to use in place of this 13y we are having here. So anywhere you see 13y, you fix 4y plus 9y there. So this becomes 3y squared plus 9y and then plus 4y plus 12 equal to 0. You bracket this, you bracket this. Now if you look at this expression in the bracket, 3y is common into y. 9y divided by 3y will give you what? 3. 4 is common here, so you bring out plus 4 and put your y into the bracket. 12 divided by 4 will give you what? 3, which is equal to 0. So we now have equal to 3y plus 4. Pick one of the brackets that are the same. That's y plus 3 equal to 0. So at this point, we'll now say that when 3y plus 4 equal to 0, 3y is equal to negative 4. And then y equal to negative 4 over 3. Or we can say when y plus 3 is equal to 0. So y equal to what? Negative 3. So that's our final result to that particular question. So that is how to solve that question. So let us see the last question, which is on the board. 4 minus 3z minus z squared equal to 0. So let us see how we can solve this. Solution: we have 4 minus 3z minus z squared equal to 0. The same way I've been doing the other ones, I'll still do this one that same way. My 4 will multiply minus z squared. I'll have minus 4z squared. And then I'll look for the factors of minus 4z squared. If I do that, 1 times 4 will give us 4. And 2 times 2 will give us 4. But this is not going to work. But this will work. So if I use plus 1z minus 4z, this is plus 1z minus 1z, it will give me minus what? It will give me minus 3z. And if you multiply it, it will also give you what? Minus 4z squared. So that tells you that we are doing the right work. Let us clean the board and see how we can solve this question. Now let's see. Let us use the factor to solve that question. So this becomes 4 minus what? Now we are using minus 4z plus 1z. So this is minus 4z plus z minus z squared equal to 0. So I'll bracket this, and then I'll bracket this. Looking at this first bracket, 4 is common. So I'll factor out 4 into 1 minus what? Minus 4z divided by 4 will give you what? Minus z. So this will be minus z. If you look at this other bracket, z is common here. So you factor out z, you have 1, then you divide z squared minus z squared by z, you get minus z, which is equal to 0. If you do that now, let us see how to get the final result. So you have 4 plus z bracket 1 minus z is equal to 0. To solve for your z, you say when 4 plus z is equal to 0, z is equal to what? Minus 4. Or you can say when 1 minus z is equal to 0, therefore your z, you can take z to the other side. Your z is equal to what? 1. So z equal to what? 1. Okay, so that is the final result for those questions or those examples under factorization method.